And welcome everybody to the Dutch Mentor. This is our series of keys to success. And I have today Dr. Rafael Torres, who is a medical director over at White Plains Hospital, join. And he's going to talk a little bit about what his journey was like. And of course, it was a storied career up to this point in time. I'm sure he has still big dreams that he's reaching for, but I'm sure he took some key initiatives to get to where he is today. So welcome to the series, and please take it away.
Great. Thank you, Walter. I appreciate it. Just by way of background, I am classically trained as an emergency physician. I graduated back in 2005 and quickly got into an administrative role as an associate director in an emergency department in Westchester County, and quickly transitioned again into a directorship role. I think all throughout those early days, I had an idea in my mind that continuous learning, continuous improvement, personal improvement was the key to ongoing happiness, first and foremost, personal satisfaction, as well as professional success. I wasn't really learning or trying to learn in order to improve the job I had, although it did help. It was always trying to prepare for that opportunity when it should arise, whether it was a different directorship at a different organization. I was at Montefiore for a while, or coming here to White Plains. It was always in preparation for that next step. My learning certainly helped with the current position, but again, it was about improving myself and getting ready for that next step. And then with all that under my belt, which we could talk about also, I became the chief quality officer. And if it wasn't for me preparing and having found a passion around quality and safety and performance improvement and quality assurance, and taking it upon myself to go out there and learn, and to get deeper and deeper into the issues, when that opportunity arose, I wouldn't have been prepared. So to me, the keys to success is find something you're interested in. It may not particularly help you in your current situation, but it may help you in the future. And so that when the opportunity arises, you're able to seize it and to move forward. I'll also add that I hired a personal coach back when I first came here. So back in 2013, 2014, knowing that what got me where I wasn't going to get me further. Everybody has rough spots. Everybody will regress to that reptilian brain or the amygdala part of it, the emotional side of things. And in having a coach that allows you to be more introspective and understand yourself more as you go forward is important. Again, personal growth is really, whether that's academic growth or professional growth or just personally knowing yourself and understanding yourself in order to make yourself better, but also your professional experience better is also essential. And nobody asked me to do that. I didn't. It wasn't paid for. I paid for it myself. I think it's really similar to the Dutch Mentor, and getting out there and learning how to be a better leader and a better person was important to me, and that really has helped as well. Those are kind of some of my keys to professional success. As a leader here, having led the emergency department through COVID, I'll just add there are many leadership styles. Everybody probably fits into one leadership style better than another. But really, in my mind, to be successful as a leader, you have to be able to move between them, whether it's transactional leadership, transformational leadership, servant leadership, charismatic leadership. It takes all elements of those leadership styles, our characteristics, in order to, at least during a crisis, to be successful. And I dislike when somebody says, well, you're this kind of leader or you're this kind of leader. I think you have to have the ability to transition through all the leadership styles to be successful. And it's in those people who kind of level off in their career, or those who can't use other skills or other styles in order to keep moving forward. So, know your leadership style, but also understand the others and how you can pull those others in during certain situations. I think it's really important. On a day-to-day basis, if you're a leader, I think you need to understand that there's a continuum. I like to visualize it in my mind as a speedometer almost. So are you in the leadership? Are you supposed to be a leader now? Are you supposed to be a manager now? Or should you be a coach? And knowing how to transition between any of those three elements for the given situation is important, is essential. Because sometimes you're trying to be a leader and you should be a coach. Sometimes you should be a leader and not a coach, and you need to kind of be a visionary and set the tone and set the direction for everyone and take a step back. And so you need to understand that to be successful. What else can I say about success? How's that sound so far?
Yeah, no, I think that's really good. I wanted to say that really, I coined it situational leadership, right? You have to find that you have to be agile as a leader to be able to make the adjustments to the person that's in front of you. It goes as simple as if you are speaking to an audience as a physician, you have to make sure that the audience can understand what you are saying. If you throw out a whole bunch of medical terms and it goes right over top of the head, the message is not delivered and is not understood, and the likelihood of anybody taking that message away and drive quality in the organization is just not going to work, right? So it is understanding who your audience is, making and being agile and being flexible, and understanding how a directive leader, because you come across those as well, and you have to work with them, right? So you have finding that place and time, know when to follow, know when to lead. Is essential to success. So thank you for laying that. Any tips on your physical, emotional wellness as a physician? Burnout is obviously something spoken about often, especially in emergency services. Any tips there? Any keys to success and how you have remained healthy and well?
So you mentioned physical and emotional. I spend a lot of time trying to pay attention to my physical well-being. So you got to take care of yourself first. I know it's silly to say you got to eat right and exercise, but you got to eat right and you got to exercise. So if you're not getting enough sleep, you're going to be miserable, whether you like to believe it or not. And I try to, I'm as bad as everybody else when it comes to those things, but having some mindfulness about it is important. And emotional well-being, I think for me, and I want to get into this a little bit. For me, it's about having meaningful work. It's about finding work that that you're passionate about, that's meaningful to you, that you feel like you're making a difference, that other people feel like you're making a difference in. I think that's really essential. And for me, it's not only about quality and safety and patient care and running an operation that's actually working for people, not only the patients, but also the staff. It's also about mentoring at the same time. I'm a big believer in what is it? I forgot the term. Hold on.
That's okay.
I'm a big believer in succession planning. Okay.
Yes, very important.
Succession planning from the beginning. I'm talking day one. I start looking for that person who's going to take my job. And I know that can be very scary for people, but it's humbling because, everything has a beginning and everything has an end. Mm-hmm. Eventually, everything is going to end. And you need to, if you really are passionate about where you work and the work that you do, you don't want that work to come to an end. You want it to continue after you have left either that position or that organization, and you want to hand it off to somebody who is prepared to continue that trajectory that you've set you set the whole team upon. Mm-hmm. And so having a mentee and mentoring appropriately and having them learn and having them make mistakes and being there for them and being a coach, a manager, and leader all at the same time I think that's meaningful to me because the work is meaningful, and having that continue after I'm gone one way or another is meaningful. And I know you know Michael Guttenberg, and he's passed away, but he was my mentor for a long time, and I took over emergency departments from him, and it was about him teaching me so that I could continue the work that he started. And I almost look at it as I'm also teaching others so that they can continue the work that he started. Yeah. And it just goes on, and it's almost like a pandemic, right? It's for every person you touch, maybe they touch two more people who touch two more people. And the good parts of your coaching, leadership, and managerial style maybe continues and perpetuates itself. And to me, that brings a lot of meaning. And I think that brings emotional stability to me. Getting back to your original question, it's that kind of calm. It brings me a calm that I know I'm actually have others around me who's working and rowing in the same direction, and all the stresses I have around me probably dissipate to others, and it's not just my shoulders who are carrying it, but there are other people who are carrying it because they also feel the meaningful work that they're a part of. So
yeah, I think it's great that there's a core responsibility of a leader to tend to the next generation. I think that your legacy is not measured on what you have done, but what the place looks like 6 months after you have left it. If it falls apart, you have not done your job. And to go back to what you talked about, your passion. I had a good conversation earlier today about, defining success, right? Success is defined by you, not by anybody else, not by your mom, not by your dad. It's by you. And I truly believe in the connecting the 4 Ps. It is the passion and purpose, which really is connecting the mind to the heart, and then selecting the right people, the people and processes. And if you combine those 4 together, and you learn how to synergize them, optimize them, you can have phenomenal outcomes. So that leads me to one last question, since you're a quality guy and like numbers, like I like numbers. One of my philosophies is very simple. If you measure it, if you measure performance, performance improves. Talk a little bit about the importance of measuring what you do in order to drive quality outcomes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was Atul Gawande who, in one of his books, Better, said, measure it, measure something. It doesn't matter what it is, but measure it. And so I try to put data around everything. And data doesn't tell the whole story. It takes people at the point of care, at least in medicine, to decipher what the data means for themselves as well as for others. They'll interpret it for you, and they turn that data into information and eventually knowledge. But to me, if you're not measuring it, you're never going to be able to understand it. And I think we are inherently, as humans, trying to understand the world around us, trying to understand how things work. And in order to understand how things work, we really have to have some semblance of numbers, whether it's quantitative or qualitative data, in order to lead us in a direction for improvement. And whether I was in the emergency department or now in the quality role, it's all about measurement. It's all about using classic performance improvement, whether that's driver diagrams, cause and effect diagrams, or otherwise. It's measure it, try to improve it, follow it over time, celebrate your successes, give accolades to all those people who did the hard work, because you may have set them in that direction, but after that you take a step back and you let them take the spotlight. But like you said, data is important. Information, without it, you're never gonna improve.
Yeah, I agree. So it is again, phenomenal insight. I think there's some really good pointers for people across the board, no matter what position you're in, on how to set a path of success for yourself. It is about continuous growth, about being agile, about being, expose yourself. And I think one of the keys that you talked about is that your insight of knowing what you did not know, and then retaining a coach to help you through those rough spots, and somebody who can function as a trust partner. And it's not always you need to go out and hire a coach or a trust partner. Find somebody who's willing to keep you honest. Find somebody who's willing to ask the tough questions, or listen intensely and give you opposing views in a safe environment that help you, grow and as a professional, as a leader itself. So thank you very much for joining me today. It really, really is insightful. Look forward to sharing this with the student and the rest of the world. And I hope that we can be in touch real soon again. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll talk soon again.
Thank you, Walter. Take care.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you, Dr. Torres. You too.